Hare Krishna. So we are talking about Indira Ekadashi. So it happened that Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Madhusudan, O killer of Madhudeman, what is the name of Ekadashi that occurs during the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksh of the month of Ashwin? Please describe its glories to me. So Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna then replied, this holy day is called Indira Ekadashi. If a person fasts on this day, all his sins are eradicated, and his forefathers who have fallen into hell are liberated. O best of kings, one who simply hears about the sacred Ekadashi achieves the great merit earned by performing a horse sacrifice. In the Satyuga, there lived a great king named Indrasen, who was so powerful that he destroyed all his enemies. His kingdom was called Mahishmatipuri. The glorious and highly religious King Indrasen took good care of his subjects, and therefore he was rich in gold, grains, sons, and grandsons. He was greatly devoted to Lord Vishnu as well. He especially chanted Krishna's name, calling out Govinda, Govinda. In this way, King Indrasen systematically dedicated himself to pure spiritual life and spent much time meditating on the absolute truth. One day, as King Indrasen happily and peacefully presided over his assembly, the perfect orator, Sri Narad Muni, was seen descending, white as a conch, shining like the moon, like a jasmine flower, like a lightning bolt. Narad Muni descended from the sky. He is decorated with matted locks of reddish hair. The king offered Devarshi Narad, the saint among the Devas, great respect by greeting him with joined palms, inviting him into the palace, offering him a comfortable seat, washing his feet, and speaking sweet words of welcome. Then Narad Muni said to Maharaj Indrasen, O king, are the seven limbs of your kingdom prospering? The seven limbs of a king's domain being the king's well-being himself, his ministers, his treasury, his military forces, his allies, the Brahmanas, the sacrifices performed in his kingdom, and the needs of the king's subjects. Is your mind absorbed in thinking of how you can properly perform your occupational duty? Are you becoming more and more devoted and dedicated to service of the Lord Shri Vishnu? The king replied, by your kind grace, O greatest of sages, everything is quite well. Today, just by your presence, all the sacrifices in my kingdom are successful. Please show me mercy and explain the reason for your kind visit here. Shinara, the sage among the Devas, then said, O lion among kings, listen to my astonishing words. When I descended from Brahmalok to Yamlok, Lord Yamraja praised me very graciously and offered me an excellent seat. As I glorified his truthfulness and wonderful services to the Supreme Lord, I noticed your father in Yamraja's assembly. Though he had been very religious, because he broke an Ekadashi fast prematurely, he had to go to Yamlok. Your father gave me a message for you. He said, in Mahishmati lives a king named Indrasen. Please tell him about my situation here, that because of my past sinful deeds, I have somehow been forced to reside in Ramraja's kingdom. Please give him this message from me. O son, kindly observe the coming Indira Ekadashi and give much in charity so I can go upward to heaven. Philosophically, we can understand that every living entity is an individual, and individually, everyone has to practice Krishna consciousness to traverse back to home, back to Godhead. As stated in Garud Puran, someone who is suffering in hell cannot practice Krishna consciousness because this requires some mental peace, which the reactionary tortures of hell make impossible. If a relative of a sinner suffering in hell gives some charity in the name of the sinner, he can leave hell and enter the heavenly planets. But if the sinner's relative observes this Ekadashi fast for his suffering kinsman, the kinsman goes directly to the spiritual world, as stated in this narration based on Brahma Vaivarta Puran. Narad continued, just to deliver this message, O king, have I come to you. You should help your father by observing the fast of Indira Ekadashi. By the merit you gain, your father will go to heaven. King Indrasen asked, O great Naradji, please be merciful and tell me specifically how to observe a fast on Indira Ekadashi. And also tell me during what month and what day it occurs. Narad Muni replied, O king, please listen as I describe to you the full process of observing the Indira Ekadashi. This Ekadashi occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashwin. On the Dashmi Tithi, the day before Ekadashi, rise early in the morning, take bath, and then do some service to God with full faith. At noon, bathe again in running water and then offer oblations to your forefathers with faith and devotion. Be sure not to eat more than once on this day, and at night, sleep on the floor. When you awaken on Ekadashi morning, cleanse your mouth and teeth thoroughly, and then with deep devotion for the Lord, take this sacred vow. Today I shall fast completely and give up all kinds of sense enjoyment. O lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, O infallible one, please give me shelter at your lotus feet. At noon, stand before the sacred form of the Sri Saligram Shila and worship him faithfully, following all the rules and regulations. Then offer oblations of ghee into the sacred fire and tarpana directed to help your fathers. Next, feed qualified brahmanas, obviously non-grain prasadams, and offer them some charity according to your means. Now take the food pindas you offer to your forefathers, smell it, and then offer it to a cow. Next, worship Lord Rishikesh with incense and flowers, and finally remain awake all night near the deity of Lord Sri Keshava. Early in the morning on the next day, Dwadashi Tithi, worship Sri Hari with great devotion and invite Brahmin devotees to a sumptuous feast. Then feed your relatives and finally take your meal in silence. O king, if you strictly observe a fast on Indira Ekadashi in this way with controlled senses, your father will surely be elevated to the abode of Lord Vishnu. After saying this, Devarshi Narad immediately disappeared from the scene to bless someone else with his presence. King Indrasen followed the great sense instructions perfectly, observing the fast in the association of his relatives and servants. As he broke his fast on the Dwadashi Tithi, flowers fell from the sky. The merit that Indrasen Maharaj earned by observing his fast released his father from the kingdom of Yamraj and caused him to attain a completely spiritual body. Indeed, Indrasen saw him rising to the abode of Lord Hari on the back of Garuda Vahan. Indrasen himself was able to rule his kingdom without any obstacles, and in time, when he handed over the kingdom to his son, he also went to the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha. O Yudhishthir, these are the glories of Indira Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashwin. Whoever hears or reads this narration certainly enjoys life in this world, is freed of all reactions to his past sins, and in the time of death returns home back to Godhead, where he lives eternally. Thus ends the narration of the glories of Ashwin Krishna Ekadashi or Indira Ekadashi, which is mentioned in Brahma Vaivarta Puran. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो